Joy Made Millionaire is back. We are back for the second episode of the podcast. I'm Brian Cohen, and I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people about how to refer to myself when it comes to this podcast, because for the longest time I was an author coach. But I'm not really talking to you guys in the capacity of being an author coach. I'm talking in the capacity of being someone who supports entrepreneurs of every walk of life. I have tended to support a lot of female entrepreneurs. Of course, I don't mind working with male entrepreneurs. I think uh, everyone is awesome. But when it comes down to helping people, it has tended to be, 70%, 80% women. And one of the people that I've talked to, or one of the groups of people that I've talked to about this show is the mentorship group that I'm in, is the wonderful Amanda Francis mastermind that I'm a part of. And what we determined I should refer to myself as is your supportive business husband. So that's me. I'm Brian Cohen, your supportive business husband, here to help you to have a stronger, more successful business. Tell me what you think of this idea of being the supportive business husband for you, not in a weird way, just in a way to help you to grow. So I'm just making sure we've got all our live streamy stuff in here. It looks like everything is doing what it's supposed to do. I'm hopeful that we've made a few changes. We've improved some lighting. We've improved some sound. Look at this fancy microphone. And today we are going to talk about the concept of the joy profit matrix. The joy profit matrix. It may not be something you've ever heard of before because I made it up. I made up this idea of the joy profit matrix, which is this concept. Okay, Kat is a fan of the supportive business husband. I'm here to help you in this capacity. This concept of the joy profit matrix. We are Joy Made Millionaire, the show. I have helped multiple authors to reach 7 figures. I have helped myself to reach 7 figures, but there are definitely things I did along the way that were not particularly joyful. And more often than not, it was trying to keep up with people, right? It was trying to do what other people were doing, other course creators, other people who were really, really focused on what made them money. And I said, oh, well, I want to make more money too. So, of course, I wanted to do what they did. I wanted to have the level of success that they did. And so I did more of what they did. Let me know in the comments here, those of you who are live for episode 2, let me know if you've ever been in that situation where you have said, so-and-so is doing something. It doesn't sound like fun to me, but I'm going to do it too. I'm going to do it too. And so I followed that path for some time. I followed the path of let's do what other people are doing. But that wasn't necessarily making me happy. Trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to do things the way that they did it, trying to figure out, well, how can I recreate what they've done? That is, it did contribute to my financial well-being, but it also contributed to other things. It contributed to burnout. It contributed to fear that I would be seen as an imposter for just trying to copy these folks. It led to sadness it really did lead to sadness, where I was sad that I was doing this, but in a way that did not align with me, in a way that did not line up with the kind of person that I was. And I see other people in the comments here, like Scarlett and Brenda, specifically with social media. Oh man, with social media. How many times are we trying to replicate what someone is doing on TikTok, replicate what someone is doing on Instagram, and then we fall short of who we actually are? We need to be more like us. We were put here to be more like us. This is not we were not put on this earth to try to be like Bob or try to be like Joe or try to be like Linda. We were not put on this earth to be like them. And yet, that's what we do sometimes. That is absolutely what we do sometimes. I wanted to bring up Lucia. She said, yes, I've done that. Doing what other people say will work, but it wasn't me. I've also not done things I thought would be a great idea because of what others said. Oh my gosh. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I have done that too. I have not done things because I was worried. I hesitated on doing this very live stream because I did research. You can't even see it in the frame if you're on the video. Research. I forget how narrow this is. Research saying that this idea would not work. I did the research saying that this idea would not work, so I didn't want to do it. Well, I will tell you, I am happy I'm doing this live stream. I am happy I'm on here with you. I am happy to be sharing these thoughts with you, and I have a feeling it is going to work. So back to the joy profit matrix. It's just a matrix, which, is columns, chart, spreadsheet style, where there are 4 boxes. There is joy on one side, profit on the other. So we start with the easiest box, where there is joy and profit. And I understand that many entrepreneurs have not found that intersection quite yet. The thing that gives you money, but also makes you happy, which is why we always have to pursue it, right? We always have to pursue something that makes us happy that could make us money, because the ultimate thing in the joy profit matrix is to be doing something you love that brings you money. And I know we talked about that a little bit in the premiere episode, and thank you to everyone who attended the premiere episode and or who posted a review on Apple Podcasts. I read them all and it made me very, very happy. So it is a no-brainer to do things that make you happy that also make you money. We can do those. You have my permission to do those. You are allowed to do those. If anyone has ever told you, and just like with what Lucia said, worried about what other people would say, worried about maybe the results that thing would have, you're allowed to do something that brings you joy and happiness. You have my permission. You didn't need it, but you have it. Secondly, let's go to things that bring you joy, but that do not bring you money. These are the first things to go, right? When we're busy, when we've got a busy business, when we're trying to scale things up, when we are in this idea that no, I have to work, I have to overextend myself, I have to have an overflow of effort, and I have to push for every dollar that I make. That means you might think I have to put all the things that bring me joy on the sideline so that I can have more time to make money. Who's ever felt that way? Sound off in the comments. And if you're watching this and it's a replay, sound off in the comments as well. I want to hear. So here's the thing. Joy can make you money, as we've talked about. There's the joy and profit in the same box. But joy isn't just there to make you money. Sometimes it gives you the recovery that you need. It gives you the rejuvenation and this feeling of liveliness that you need. It gives you what you need to make it to the next day. Because as much as I love making money, as much as I love having grown my business to 7 figures a year, as much as I love all of that stuff, the times where I have sacrificed what I love, and it sounds like JC there on Facebook says, yep, I've done the same thing, sacrificed all the joy things so that I could focus on money making things more. If we kick out all of the joy making things, we will eventually run out of energy. We will run out of spirit. We will run out of that love that is so important to keep us going. We absolutely need that to keep us going. And so, if you have joy things that do not bring you profit, I would go so far as to say you must make time for those. And if you're a high achiever like me, many entrepreneurs, high achiever types, then you must set aside the time. I would say that in order to be a happier, more whole human, but also to make more money, you must set aside time in order to have the joy things that you know will not be making you profit. Now, I've worked with so many entrepreneurs over the years, many of whom are authors, and authors are a special case because they turned their joy thing into a profit center, and now they need to find something else that brings them joy that doesn't make them money. Now that they're making money off of the one thing, they need to go and find something that brings them joy that has nothing to do with writing. So I highly, highly recommend, if you have turned your creative thing into your moneymaker, great. That maybe gives you the thing that brings you joy and the thing that brings you money. But you may also, you definitely need to bring in something that brings you joy and doesn't bring you in any money, and you need to put it on your schedule. You absolutely positively need to put that thing on your schedule. Now, we get to another fun matrix of the joy profit matrix. We get to a fun box, which is something that brings you no joy, but brings you profit. So something that you actively dislike doing, but it does bring you money. These are the kind of things like Lucia mentioned, having worked on. These are the things that you go through, you've taken courses on, you've gotten mentorship for, and you do them, and they do make you money. Building your following via email or social media, having higher priced products that you sell on a regular basis, putting out a new course, doing a launch of a product or a book or what have you. There are things within there that will make you money. And so it is kind of up to you to figure out a solution for this, because we do not want to spend more than 20% of our time doing things that make us money that we hate, because this is going to drain your soul. It's going to drain that energy. We do not want to be drained, my friends. And so what we need to do is we need to block out no more than 20% of our schedule for these things. And we need to get to the point where we are outsourcing these things. I have some fantastic entrepreneurs that I work with on a regular basis who have started trading their assistants. So one of them has an assistant that is helping with their email list. And then several other people in the group say, ooh, do they have free time? First person says yes. And now that assistant is working with 3 or 4 other entrepreneurs because they now are all outsourcing the thing that they don't want to do, the thing that can bring them profit, but does not bring them joy. And so if you have been holding on to something, and I've done it, believe you me, one of the reasons we have this podcast is because I have done those things. I have done the holding on to a task way too long. I have done the I can't possibly hand this off because nobody can do it as well as me thing. I have done the, well, it's going to be faster if I do it myself. How many of you have hit any of those little roadblocks along the way where you are forcing yourself to do this thing that you actively hate doing? Because it's definitely, I've done all of those things. I resemble all of those remarks. And so what I highly, highly recommend is you find a way to outsource it. You hire it away, either to someone who is doing this for you on a regular basis or someone who is just helping you do it one time, maybe something on Fiverr, something on Upwork, etc. If you can outsource this thing that makes you money, but that brings you no joy, but does not fill you up in any way, then you will eventually make enough money to pay for the person. Maybe you already make more than enough money to pay for the person. You've just been hesitant for the reasons that I've expressed for this thought that, oh, you're the only one who can possibly do it. Hand it off. There are different levels of this. I didn't want to go too far. Dolly also mentioned that one of her things that does not bring her money but does bring her joy is dancing, and she does it on a regular basis. Smart. I love that. I used to do some ballroom dancing in college. It was very, very fun. So what does this look like at various stages of your businesses? So for an author or an entrepreneur who is regularly bringing in thousands of dollars a month, usually these folks are turning to this too late. They are outsourcing way later than they could have, should have. They often feel that, oh, I could have done this months ago when they start doing it. So for those of you in that boat, the time to start is absolutely now. For folks who are at a higher level, who maybe already have a virtual assistant, but who do not have a virtual assistant or a personal assistant who can do that specific task, it may be time to make the second hire. It may be time to get someone specialized. At the beginning, when you have someone, usually it is a jack of all trades kind of person, or it is someone that you are making into a jack of all trades person, whether or not that's their actual skill set. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you are having people do specific things that they are good at doing, rather than just saying, I have this thing, I have this person, let's peanut butter jelly this thing and get this person to be doing this thing. Eventually, it is getting people in specific roles that is going to make the biggest difference. So getting people into the specific roles. So then let's say you're a little bit further down the line. You're maybe in the $10,000 to $20,000 a month range. You're growing. Eventually, you might have multiple people in specific roles. But then other things are going to happen. You're also going to say, well, are the people that I hired back then, are they in the right roles? And you might end up graduating someone. You might end up moving someone to another role. I had a wonderful scenario several years ago where someone who was doing support for my business ended up having just significantly greater business acumen than I ever knew. And I had a great mentor, Jada Selner, who is fantastic. Her brand is Love Over Metrics. She's so fantastic. she said, hey, give everyone in your company kind of this form to fill out to find out some answers to some key questions. And I found out that this support person knew how to structure a business, was able to do roles that I didn't even know she could do. And if I had never asked the question, about what they have the ability to do, I never would have found out. And so it's possible that someone you're working with at that point, when you have multiple people, they're actually a really good fit for something else. Later on down the line, you might be in a situation like me, where you have lots of people doing lots of different roles, and it's just a matter of finding the right thing for the right person. And so those are kind of some of those different levels of outsourcing something that brings you no joy, but that does bring you profit. So let me know in the comments here on the live what you think. If you're watching this on YouTube or something later on, let me know what you think. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs kind of get stuck in the mushy middle there. They only get to one employee or contractor, and then they feel like, oh well, hiring people just doesn't work for me. But at some point, that is going to be what keeps you from growing if you do not have a large enough team. Something I learned from listening to videos from Gary Vaynerchuk was, at some point in your business, the solutions are HR solutions, human resources solutions, which means having the right person doing the right thing at the right time is going to be the solution to a problem that you are facing. Let's go to the last column, the place that this is actually a place of great joy, even though it is things that do not bring you joy, that do not bring you profit. So things in your business that do not bring you joy and do not bring you profit. And it can even include some things from your personal life as well. So if you do not have, if you have things that are in your business that you hate doing and that don't make you any money, here's where the joy comes in. You can release them. You can let them go. You can make those things go away, because you do not need to be doing things that don't work, that you hate. If they don't work and you hate them, you can take them away. You can make them go away. You are allowed to do that. Now, we want to be smart about this. If you're like, well, I hate editing my book, or I hate paying my team. Obviously there are exceptions, but we want to make sure that we are somewhat ruthless with our time and our energy. We need to make sure that we are triaging these things so that we are not putting time and effort into something that is not serving us. Stephanie said, permission granted. Love it. Yes, exactly. Let it go. We've had things in my company Best Page Forward that we realized just could not be the focus anymore. Could not be something we put energy and intention behind. And so as a result, we either let them go or reduced our focus on that in a significant way. So just getting more of my lemon water here. But if you have a thing, and let me know, has something come to mind already? Have you already thought of what that specific thing is that you could let go? As I pop another little cough drop here. But what is something that comes to mind that you would get rid of in a heartbeat with that permission? That you would say, yep, I am no longer going to do that thing. I am no longer going to have that be a part of my business. Stephanie brings up bookkeeping. And yeah, that's obviously something you can outsource. that's something you can let go of. So one would make the case that might lead to profit down the line. So it might be in the it might be in the does bring you profit but doesn't bring you joy category, because bookkeeping may at some point clue you into something that makes you more money. But depending, it doesn't really matter which box you put it in, as long as you aren't doing it. It is okay to X something off. It is okay to say, I keep putting this specific thing off over and over and over again. It is okay to say no more to that. It is okay to take things off your plate and just don't do them anymore if they do not bring you joy and energy and health, as well as money. We need it to be bringing in the money. And I see Kyle here mentions editing. It is possible that we're putting too much effort into the editing, or we're putting too much effort into a certain part of our business, and we can scale that back. So let's go over once again the 4 boxes in the joy profit matrix. We've got it brings you joy and it brings you profit. Of course, put the majority of your attention into this. If it brings you joy but no profit, it's time to stop sacrificing those. It's time to put those into your agenda as regularly as you can. Things that bring you profit but no joy, you have my permission to outsource them. I did see Stephanie here said, I am definitely looking for specialized help. Have a great cover designer and need a great editor. Yeah, I mean, when you are looking for the right kind of people, just know that others have found the right kind of help for them before. You can too. You can find people who are bringing you money by doing incredible work, even if it doesn't bring you joy. And the more often you hand those things off one way or another, you could barter them for all I care. You could be doing a special thing for them. They could be doing a special thing for you. But eventually you get to that point in your business where you don't need to be bartering. You don't need to be worrying about, oh, well, is this as good as such and such? There comes a time where you don't need to worry about that anymore. You just need to focus on the joy and the profit and doing it in a smart way. And going into that 4th box of does not bring you joy, does not bring you profit, you have my permission, my friends, to let it go. You also have my permission, if you have not yet picked up my 10 ways to add joy to your business, you can go to joymademillionaire.com. You can pick that up. If you liked what you heard, feel free to go over to the Apple Podcast page for Joy Made Millionaire and leave us a review. We are going to be back here next Wednesday for another episode. I have so loved getting to do this show for you this week. If you know someone who you think would be a good fit for this show, who would like to watch this show, who would like to listen to this show, at the beginning of a podcast, word of mouth is everything. And we would love for you to help out. I see Barbara here is a fan of the Matrix, says, love this Matrix, now to implement it. Yes, that is the trick, right? So what's your homework? I would like you to write this joy profit matrix on a sheet of paper. Have just a paper that you divide into the 4 boxes with the little headers of joy and profit. And I would like you to start thinking about it. The easiest way to start on the joy profit matrix is to think of the things you don't love that don't bring you money. List those out and decide today to release them. Decide today to release them. Let's do a little meditation here. We can close our eyes here. I am allowed to release things that don't bring me profit or joy. I can fill that space with more joy. I can fill that space with more profit. When I create more space in my life, it allows me to be happier. It allows me to be wealthier. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Love, love, love getting the chance to do this show for you. We will be back next Wednesday, same time, same place, same platforms. And I really appreciate you sticking around, listening, watching. And we will be back next time for episode number 3 of Joy Made Millionaire. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And I really, really look forward to seeing you later on. Thanks so much, everybody. Take good care.